Jasmine, you'll shut the door behind you, please. Thank you. So the earliest record we have of the house is 1894. It appears it was built by a guy named George White. He was a doctor and his wife. We don't know why they didn't move in the house. There's no record of moving here. 1899 or 1901, depending on what record resource. It was bought by Dr. John Gibbons and his wife Jessie Gibbons. Dr. John will operate his medical practice for the next several decades out of these 3 rooms on the east side of the house. Okay, this was donated by family members. Some stuff from the doctor's medical journals. Jared Marshall, when he bought the house, he dug these up in the basement. Looks like medicine bottles to me, I'm guessing from that period of history. So this is also called Big Black's room because, well, we even got a picture of Big Black. Lisa Potts took one a couple months ago. I think I shared that with you. I've never seen Big Black. It's some type of black energy form. Had a psychic here that said it was an elemental. I don't know what she means. And I'm not sure I believe in psychics, but she was a pretty good psychic. So she said it's an elemental, and it usually will hover around this part of the room. This is a really good room for EVPs and that good thing. Did you guys bring
recorders?
I have one. Yeah. The problem with EVPs is I probably have 300 hours of recordings. Haven't had a chance to listen to any of it. So if you guys want, I've got some killer EVPs that Shawn will share with me tonight. Just you wouldn't believe it. Some of the EVPs that she's captured in this house. So when it was your turn to come see the doctor, this is the doctor's examination room. Everybody come on in here. Now this is one of the beds we ask that you don't sit or lay on it. We used to allow people to sit on it, lay on it. I used to tell people 5 or 6 people could get on it. I had 2 former students back here in February, and they had rented the house out, and one was on each side of the bed, and they said it felt like someone just got a running jump. I mean, your kids, you run jump on it, and it landed right between them, and it broke, and we haven't been able to keep it fixed. Now when people sit on it, it always breaks. When I first came here, this bed wasn't here. The examination table was in the middle of the room. Probably going to get rid of the bed and try to put the examination table back in the room. The previous owner put the bed in here, I think, because he was staying in here some, and he and his wife would sleep in here. I don't like to sleep in here. I don't like to sleep in the house at all, but I think that's what his plan was, why I put the bed in here. So please don't sit on it. And it's really very disappointing because it's such a comfortable bed, but it will probably break if you put any significant weight on it. This was the doctor's examination room. Patients would come here. The doctor did all kinds of surgeries. He was just a general practitioner. Back then, there was hardly any specialists, particularly in Mitchell, Indiana, in the early 19th century or 1900s. So the doctor would operate a fairly successful medical practice out of this area right here. Please don't sit on the wheelchair. Obviously, do not sit on this examination table. It's over 100 years old. I will tell you about how the doctor, he was a respected member of the community, but there's some tragedy that befalls the family, and towards the end, the doctor started getting really weird, and I had a historian from IU. She and I had been really digging up, I think I told you about that. We dug up a bunch of stuff on the doctor that you would never believe. I was kind of giving the guy a pass, thinking a lot of stuff was just ruminating the window, but his story is much darker. And it's documented. I mean, the Hall of Records in Lawrence County, she found a bunch of stuff. But his oldest daughter was a foster daughter. Her name was Helen, and she had him committed, and he was taken up to Central State in Indianapolis, and they did an insanity inquest. He was in custody for about a week, and he was released, and they found him not to be insane. So this is the actual insanity inquest. There are 9 more pages to it that my historian found that I didn't know existed. And when you when you read those pages, according to her, he was claiming to see past family members that had lived in the house and passed on, patients that had died in the house. He was hearing voices. He kept hearing a voice saying, do evil things. And some people are starting to think that the doctor himself might have had some demonic possession going on. I don't know. I've never seen. I do know this room is very aggressive towards women. And I guess, Paige, should I show a couple pictures as we go?
If you want to.
You guys want to see some pictures of this room?
Yeah.
In here? Okay. I'm not trying to scare you. No, that's not the goal here, but I just want you to know what can happen in this room, particularly with females. It rarely happens with men. As a matter of fact, I don't think it's ever happened around men that I know of, not in this room. Hold on a second. Here it is. This happened to one of my former students. She was here. I bring a high school group here to take my psychology classes, and she got scratched on the stomach sitting on that bed.
Damn.
Yeah. And I know she didn't do it to herself because she was terrified. It was wintertime and she had a hoodie and she was a volleyball player, had a letter jacket on it. And one of the girls was sitting behind her, was hugging her. And she said, Mr. Powder, my stomach is burning. It's like someone just stuck a match to it or something. So she took her stuff and pulled it up. And I went, okay, it's okay. You're going to be okay.
Okay,
I promise.
Go get some water.
And then this happened with a girl sitting on the bed. This was just a few months ago. Something smacked her so violently she had to go see an optometrist. It busted the blood vessels in her eye. That happened on the bed too. You can see. So she had a really bad experience here. She never came back, by the way. She left that night, which I understand. Something smacked me, I'd probably be done as well. So this is a really good room. We have a functioning bathroom back here. You're welcome to use it. It works. This was the doctor's surgery room. We do know that. The previous owner had did some research. I just need to look like a bathroom back then. The shower wasn't here, the toilet wasn't here, the sink wasn't here. The doctor, remember, he will operate his medical practice out of his house for 37 years. And the previous owner did research and find out, documented that 23 of his patients did die here in the house. Now, that sounds like a lot, but over 37 years before there was penicillin, okay, I mean, this guy was doing amputations. He advertised in the paper. If you read our photo albums out front, he would do amputations. I mean, if you got a real bad infection, you got a farm injury, there was no penicillin back then. So before gangrene set in, they would cut, like the American Civil War, they would cut it off. So for him to only lose 23 patients in 37 years, I think that's a really good track record. I think the guy is probably a good doctor. What we do know now, after the research my historian did from IU, is that he was selling opium out of the house. He was selling ether out of the house illegally. He was doing abortions, which were legal in Indianapolis at the time. And we do believe we have a pit out here where there's buried babies and body parts and stuff. I do have a geologist from IU because I teach at IU sometimes in the summer as a adjunct.
Well, Paige
professor.
speaks very highly of you.
Pardon me?
Paige speaks very
Well, she's
highly
my
of you.
niece and I love her. And I'm her uncle, so she couldn't say anything mean about her. I'd whoop her. I put her over my knee and give her a spanking. No, she's always been such a sweet kid. I've always loved her. But I do have a geologist that's bringing some sonar equipment, and we're going to find out indeed if that is folklore, if there's body stuff out there, if it's real. Because he's going. I mean, I'm all about debunking stuff. I started this
Are they
business.
using like ground penetrating radar?
Yeah,
for it?
yeah, that's what he has. He has top state-of-the-art equipment, and he said, I'll just have to kind of like sign it out, not tell him what I'm doing with it, but going to look for body parts in a haunted house. You know, the university might not like that, but who cares? You guys, let's keep moving. I'm gonna try to get you through this real fast. I will tell you, girls, if you're going to use the restroom by yourself, probably use the one Jasmine went to. We have had women messed with in this one by themselves. But if you're brave, go for it. I mean,
Like how so?
Pardon me?
How so?
Sandra's friend Alicia was just here a few weeks ago, and Sandra was sitting in there. There wasn't a group here. She was sitting on the couch in there watching TV, and Alicia came here and used the restroom, and the door was shut, of course, and she said something like, pull on the handle. She thought Sandra was messing with her. She said, Sandra, knock it off. And Sandra goes, what are you talking about? She could tell that Sandra's voice was all the way in here. We also had a female, and this was before I bought the house. I just heard about it. She was using the bathroom in here, and they all heard a scream, and she came running out of this area with her bloomers down around her ankles. And I guess something had grabbed her so forcefully she had bruises that are inside of her thighs. So that's just what I heard. I don't know if it happened or not, but I would recommend. I recommend if girls you come to the restroom, come in teams. Okay, you can turn off that light, guys. So I'll take you to the parlor real quick.
Do you want this door shut as well?
It won't stay shut, so don't worry about it.
All right.
Hey, do you want to take your remote real quick?
I know you did. I'll put my
How long
foot
ago
in
was it when Alicia had the door rattle in there? Just a couple months ago? Okay, that's what I thought. I said it's a couple months back. Everybody can come on in here. All of this furniture is comfortable. You're welcome to sit on any of it.
There are also little books around the house
Yeah.
that you can look in if you're
Yeah, a lot of
interested.
history and stuff. A lot of the stuff that's been,
There's
all,
some of yours.
documented and stuff. Yeah.
Photos and
Pictures of the doctor and
things like
stuff.
that.
So, this is just a parlor, and Sandra had never shared this with me. And she got this EVP here a few years ago with her friends. You guys have got to hear this. This is just off the hook. First time I heard it, I go, oh my goodness gracious. So you'll hear a male voice say, we want the little boy. And then another little voice underneath it, it's a male voice, say, we'll show you how, or something like that. Let me play it here for you. That's not it. Hold on. Oh, sorry. There it is. So you hear it say, well, where's the little boy? And it says, we'll show you now, or something like that. Listen real carefully. So she got those EVPs here. Those are really good EVPs.
Yeah.
I've never heard that voice. If I did, I'd probably be sitting in a truck waiting on y'all.
You'd be like,
So-
all right, I'm out.
This is just a parlor area. Now, the doctor and his family, the tragedy with the family, the darkness, the bad stuff starts happening right here. They had been known to adopt children, abandoned children, and the good and all that good stuff. And they had a little girl, one of their adopted children named Rachel. Believed she got 9 or 10, right around Christmas, maybe even Christmas Eve. She snuck down these stairs. There was a Christmas tree probably in this corner. You know how kids were. I would sneak, the parents are around, shake my present. No one knows what was going on. It's been too long ago, but she either bumped into the tree, fell into the tree. We don't know. What we do know, she did catch on fire, or her gown did, bless her little heart. Sustained, obviously really bad burns at the time. Now, a lot of people said, no, that never happened. But when I think Jared Marshall bought the house, this was a recessed door that had been hidden. And you can see there's fire damage. So the fire definitely happened. I mean, I don't know how you can look at that and can't not tell that happened. And I think if you look up under here, you can see fire damage up in here. Yeah, you can see that in there. So, so this is kind of where I think the doctor's story starts to go south. And obviously that kind of a tragedy. I like this room, particularly around midnight or something. If you guys want to all get in here and maybe get real quiet, everybody just sit quietly. It's not uncommon to hear walking up there, voices and stuff.
Footsteps all night.
Yeah, you hear footsteps. I guarantee that will happen. I can't guarantee anything scary is going to happen tonight, but you probably will hear footsteps. And with these two here, something almost always happens. So there you go. Okay. All right. So guys, let's go upstairs.
Be careful on the stairs.
Now we do ask that you keep the door locked. All you have to do is turn it back towards 9 o'clock because people will just walk in the house. I mean, I bought the house March 5th, 2020. And my son went to one of those gas stations to get us a couple like Polar Pops, and I'm sitting there at the table waiting on him to get back, and I hear the door open. I think it's him, and I look up, and it's 3 strange men standing there. Is this the haunted house? I'm like, yeah. Can I help you? So yeah, please keep the door locked when everyone's in the house, okay? Please hold on when you walk up the stairs, please. I'm trying to go fast, guys. There's room for everyone.
I had this porcelain doll as a kid. It's the first one I ever got.
Same.
Love it.
So,
Yeah,
hey Paige, are you last? We shut that door to the top of the stairs. Someone left that open from last night, and that's our air conditioning escapes because I got an air conditioner in the attic up there. It kind of keeps things cool. You guys want to come on in and shut that door behind you? So obviously this was Rachel's room, and all the dolls have been donated. I think every one of those dolls on that side has been donated by my students, especially my female students. Think there's nothing cooler to come to that house because I do field trips here for my school, and the kids just love to bring a doll for the little girls. So all this stuff has been donated. Now we do know the doctor, the closest hospital at the time was in Bloomington. Bedford didn't even have a hospital in 1912. That he did bring her upstairs. She did not die on this bed, but she did die in this corner because we've seen pictures of where the bed was. We believe this happened on Christmas Eve, on December 26th. She expired from her burns. So many people have seen the little girl in the house, have heard her. I'll pay you.
I've heard her.
I'll play you the EVPs that we picked up in the servants' quarters. We put these beach balls here because, I mean, I've seen them fly off the bed in broad daylight, but no one stand next to them. If you're in this room and you're not paying attention, here's what it sounds like. You'll just hear something hit it and they'll just fly off the bed. It doesn't always happen, but it does happen. Lots of people bring money for Rachel and just you name it, all that stuff, toys and gifts. I do want everyone to go, are you filming right now? Can everyone just go dark for a second? This is why I want you guys to have flashlights and just kind of complete kill all your, can you just put that up against your dress or something, Jasmine? So you go dark, okay? Which one do you have there? Is that one of yours?
It's dark.
Yeah, okay. So let's look how dark it is. So, and this isn't the darkest room in the house. So I do, want everyone to have a flashlight because there's really nothing worse than if you end up in this house and you can't see, and I don't want you running and getting hurt. It's just very dark in the house, obviously. So please make sure you have a working flashlight with you at all times, okay? Any questions about Rachel's room?
Can you tell them about that doll over there?
Yeah, I mean, this is part of the folklore of the house, and the science me struggles to believe this. There was a woman here about 9 years of the house, and she brought this doll. It didn't look like that at the time, and she set it on Rachel's bed, and I guess they did their night investigation, and they heard a boom, boom, boom. They went to the foot of the stairs, and they found this doll. It looked like it had been burned or something. I don't know. It sounds like folklore to me. I can't prove it or disprove it. The house doesn't need props. It just doesn't. I mean, I think I could take every bit of furniture out of this house, everything out of it, and it would still be a really scary home. I just think that the place. I have these chairs and these couches donated. The bed has been here since I've been coming to the house for about 7-8 years now. So, whoever wants to come on in, okay?
Last time I was here, this is where something touched me.
Something touched his leg right here,
Yeah.
and no one was sitting there.
Okay, so the doctor and his wife, miraculously enough, when she was about 37 years old, they had a baby. She was at that age where women don't normally get pregnant, but they of course can. And they named the baby Sarah Elizabeth. The family just had bad luck. And maybe it's because all the bad stuff the doctor was doing. I do believe in luck and karma. I kind of believe in karma. And the baby at 10 months old died in this room. We don't know why. There's no documentation of why the baby died. I do know where the grave is. I've seen Rachel and the baby's grave. They're buried at the foot of Doctor and his wife Jesse's grave. This seemed to be about the last straw for Jessie, the mom. She will pass away in a double pneumonia. We have a newspaper article of that downstairs. This tends to be one of the rooms in the house. When Netflix was here, it's been a year ago. They were here a year ago in June. They took this picture, and their producer was so excited because it's like the fourth. It was like the fourth house that they did documentaries on being haunted, and they were here for 3 nights, and he called me the second night and said, we've already had more stuff happen here than all other houses put together. And then he sent me this picture. Now, I was standing right here doing the tour, and the 2 people in the Netflix special were both sitting here. It's a man and a woman. They're really nice people. And the cameraman was kind of where you are with his camera, one of these $12,000 Sony cameras handheld. And they took this picture of this standing behind me, okay? Can you see it? See the leg? Yeah. See it standing behind me?
I've seen it for years.
See the leg? See that? See it standing behind me? Now, trust me, if I'd have known that was standing behind me, I probably would have once again. So this is a really off the hook room. Now, another tragedy. The next to the last death we have recorded in the house happened with a family that lived here. They rented up the upstairs. Their last name was Hollister. They had a little boy named Gary. Gary was about 11 years old, and we had the newspaper and my historian documenting Gary dying in the house. Well, he fell down the stairs. He had one of these, what do they call them, Paige? Shunts?
Yeah.
He had a shunt.
He had hydrocephalus, right?
Yes,
Like,
yes.
He had,
Yeah,
yeah, like a stent in his.
stent, that's
yeah.
what it was. And he fell down the stairs. His mom got up on a Saturday morning, found him. Now, last fall, there were two people here at the house out front when I got here, and they were classmates of his. Did I tell you that?
Mhm.
And they confirmed everything about him. Now, this closet here, excuse me,
That's Gary's
Jasmine.
closet.
This closet, we call
I've
it
seen
Gary's
that
closet.
closet close on its own.
Yeah. It has a lot of toys in it. Some of these toys are actually authentic. Some of the cars and the horses were actually toys that he played with here in the closet. Some have been donated, okay? Now this closet door, if you go to our website, you'll see it open. Probably hundreds, if not thousands of people seen the door open. If you're lucky tonight, maybe you'll get it to open. So let me show you how you can debunk its opening, okay? Because the first time I seen it open, I'm kind of skeptic. I try to be a skeptic. I say, well, it's vibration, right? So make sure it's shut, pulling on it. So you know it's not vibration. Vibration will not open that door. None of you want to be doing that tonight, right? What'll happen, Paige, did you see it open?
Yeah, me and you both.
Oh,
Saw it
that's
open
right.
in the doorway.
That's
when-
right.
After Cameron's
Cameron's-
wife got pushed down the
She got
stairs.
pushed, yeah.
Yeah.
So you'll hear something like this, and the gravity itself just opens the door. So you'll hear the doorknob turn. Are you feeling weird about that? The look on your face.
They don't want you to keep doing that.
Yeah, I don't think they like it when I
It's
stop.
not
I think
good.
you're right.
The kids
Okay.
are playing in the carpet.
Okay. Definitely spend some time in here. I mean, this is a great room. Another restroom. Once again, guys, it's a working restroom. With my students, when I bring them here, we have the 5-minute bathtub challenge, which they crawl in the bathtub and we shut the door, and that's standard for 5 minutes without a flashlight. It's pretty intense. I wouldn't recommend using this restroom on the second floor by yourself. That's just what I wouldn't recommend, but once again, if you're brave, go for it, have fun. Now this is the scariest room in the house, hands down. Are you sensing something
Yeah, I
really
don't
weird?
like it.
Yeah, okay, come on in. Hey,
Man died of a heart attack in
Hey,
that
did you
bathroom.
feel the bench move? Are you one of the people who felt it
No,
move?
no. I wasn't sure when that happened.
Okay, I only have one more rule in the house. Please, at no time, stand right here. Because if you got pushed or you lost your balance, if you fell down these stairs, guys, I'd be telling a story in a few months. Hey, we had a group of my niece, and one of those people was staying over these stairs. And, this is called the servants' quarters for obvious reasons. There used to be a stairway for the back. Now, we don't have any documentation whether or not the doctor or his wife had servants. We don't have any documentation, but certainly this looks like a servants' quarters. We don't allow anyone behind the church pew because I can't keep this door shut, by the way. No way it will stay shut. There was fire damage here back in the 1970s. It's on my to-do list, but I can only do one big project at a time. That floor is not safe to set a walk on, so please stay in front of the pew. I don't want one thing falling through the ceiling. If you sit on the pew, that thing, I've seen a man about a 6'5", 350-pound man. I've seen that pew lift him up before when I'm sitting in it. And this last Wednesday, when I had some former students here, Alicia and myself and Tori were sitting on it, and it started doing this, like someone was shaking it. Now, if we're really nice to Sandra, we might be able to get her up here, because it really will respond to her. The house just does in general, and we might be able to get someone to get that pew to move it. It's really a pretty unnerving feeling. The last documented death in the house happened in 1972. After Gary had passed on, the mom refused to stay in the house, obviously, and the dad was moving furniture out of the closet area. His name's Virgil. He died of a massive heart attack right here on the spot. We had the newspaper article downstairs for that. Fart, this is where we do the Ganzfeld. This is where I recommend playing the Ouija board. If you have a ghost box, this is really a good area to do it. That's just what I would recommend if you want some really scary and possibly really good activity. We had this door knocked open so violently that you can see I had to put a new screw in it. The original was busted. I mean, literally, it was almost like someone kicked it as hard as they could and no one was in there. Now, I was talking about Rachel. Should I play on that?
Yeah, you should
Okay.
clean that up.
So,
He doesn't allow kids in the house.
no.
No one under 18 is allowed in the house. Like,
Unless they're
even-
students, because the school,
Right,
the
yeah.
school insurance will cover them.
Yeah, but
Um,
this wasn't a student thing.
no. Yeah, if you're in there and that thing starts ringing, why don't you come on out of there? Now, this was a group of people that are friends of mine, and there were only 6 of us, my son and myself, my buddy Brad Martin, he's a guy that makes my REM pods and all that stuff. He's an engineer, teacher, he's a real life Sheldon, you know, he's so smart, he's stupid, that kind of person. But I was in this closet with my son Garvin and this woman named Shannon, and there were 3 chairs in here, and the door was shut. And Brad was telling one of the other girls about how we had a seance one night and this table was moving everywhere. And you'll hear her say, "Oh, Jesus." Now, after you hear her say, "Oh, Jesus," listen.
You know, I have a video of this table filled about that.
But everyone hears it this time. I mean, it's so loud. Everybody hear it? They said it's me, and they all burst out running. All of them ran, and they knocked the chairs over. And I'm here, and I didn't follow my own rule about the flashlight. So I'm literally in pitch blackness. They're all screaming, running the stairs, and I'm crawling around the house.
Oh
So please don't go anywhere without a flashlight, because I'm just looking at it and go this way, you know. So,
Right.
now, guys, I don't allow anyone in the house that is 18. I just don't. A 15-year-old kid messed up. If something messed with a 14, 15-year-old, it's hard enough to be 14 or 15 years old. All right, let alone has something mess with you. So this is really one of the most off the hook areas of the house.
It
I think so. Wouldn't you guys agree?
Other than the
did
basement
the
might be in
Hansville,
there.
you did the Hansville
Yeah.
right here, didn't you? It
Yeah.
had some wild
Yeah.
resources.
I went in there.
Yeah.
Is that where you went in there? I really like doing the Gansville in there. I really do. So I'll take you guys to the attic, and you know what? Did you want me to stick around a little tonight, or you want me to get out of here?
You can go. You don't have to stay.
Okay.
We've already kind of kept you for a long time.
Well, I don't mind at all. I love it. I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit of what's going to happen with a couple of these impasse. My own nature here. Okay, so another great part of the house is the nursery. This is called the nursery. We don't have any idea if it was a nursery. Obviously, these steps weren't here. Jared Marsh, when he bought the house in 2006, it had the old-fashioned attic pull downstairs. He built these steps in the house. This is a really good room for a ghost box. And put the REM pod about middle way up on the steps. This is really a good place to do it, okay? Please hold on. This is where most of our people get pushed. So please hold on, coming up these stairs and going down. Jasmine, you're a tall young woman. If you want to duck your head and go on in there, okay? Duck your head. Please don't hit your head on that. You're a tall young man, so duck your head and go on in there. Duck your head. Please be careful. Duck your head.
This is the room. This is the room.
Oh,
This is the room.
This is the seance room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's called the seance room because when the first owner bought the house, he come upstairs and there was wax everywhere, and I put these walls into this insulation last summer when we put the air conditioning up here, because it feels pretty good up here to be in an attic, don't it? There were upside down crosses on the wall back there, pentagrams everywhere. He just, the house sat vacant for a long, long time, a couple decades. He was just convinced that probably kids brought, you know, kids can be silly and burned candles, did stupid stuff. So he just called it seance room. I will tell you, if you want to go dark again one more time for me, this is the darkest part of the house without question, okay?
Sorry.
You got, no, you got one of the hard flashlights. There you go. So you can see this. Well, I've got the LED. I'll turn that off on the air conditioner. When you go completely dark in here, this is what we consider the darkest part of the house. There's literally no light that gets in here. It's like the black hole.
This
So-
is where I've seen blue lights in the hallway twice.
and you got scratched right here.
Yeah.
your second visit? She was right here, and did you ever show them those scratch marks? I had her. We were doing a flashlight session, and she had a sleeveless shirt on. I said, Paige, your arm. And she had 3 huge scratch marks right down her arm right here. You were pretty brave. You only cried for about an hour and a half.
I didn't cry. I didn't even know.
Yeah.
I didn't even feel it.
You want to take the one?
There are a bunch of just on the floor.
What's that?
There are like toy balls on the floor.
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff that,
People bring up here.
yeah. Hey, stand over here so I can get to the LED if it blocks it, okay? Hey, you guys, why don't you guys go ahead and sit there, because I need a straight light to get to that LED, okay? So I can shut
This
that
is the
off, okay?
Oculus room.
Yeah.
already don't like that.
You already feel good about that? Yeah, it's cool.
You get tired.
Cool.
Ooh.
We're going in
Okay,
there.
so I got the light. So I had never really spent any time in here, even when I brought students. Nothing really ever happened in here. And then Van Renier, who owned the house from 2008 to 2020, the guy I bought the house off of, he went to a paranormal convention down in New Orleans, and they were having a haunted auction. And he bought this house, and he had documentation that over a period of about, I guess, 20 years in a nursing home, 12 people did pass away on this bed. And with now this room, I mean, have you guys seen the bed move? I can't
We
remember.
felt it and we felt the
whole
floor
floor
rumble.
shake.
Felt the
Yeah, the whole floor will shake sometimes. And listen, if it's one of us doing it, listen, you hear me doing this. Hear me doing it? It don't make any noise, does it? It will just start vibrating like that. So if you put your fingers on the bed and sit here in the dark, I've seen this thing move. I've seen it do this. It's really cool.
It did the last time we were here, because the floor was shaking.
And I just don't have any explanation for it. I mean, even with the lights on, you can feel the floor shake and stuff. It's really pretty cool. Okay, so we call this the spring bedroom. I'm trying to go fast, guys.
It must have been a big
the red
shift
room.
in here.
Said, what time is it?
Yeah, that's where.
10 o'clock.
Yeah, come on in.
Okay.
So maybe.
This is one of the most comfortable beds. 5 or 6 of you can lay down on it. We just washed the sheets, so it's clean. If you do mess it up, just all we ask you kind of straighten it back up. Sandra will not come on the 2nd or 3rd floor by herself. Okay, so I can't make it back over here tomorrow. She's got an investigation tomorrow. So if you do leave, do your best to straighten out the sheets or the bedspread. So whomever. This is called the Red Room for obvious reasons. And I actually got to meet Saturday night the guy who did the whole attic. Scott Wade, him and his wife hadn't been here in 13 years. And they redid what they had happen. They just had a bunch of crazy stuff happen. This is really a good room for EVPs. It's a good room for flashlight, REM pod, you name it. There's all kinds of activity in this room. Lots of people will get touched on the bed. Just a really good room. So I'll take 3 at a time. Who wants to come in the Oculus room first? Okay, Jasmine, you're awesome.
I just went in there, so go for it.
I like your enthusiasm, lady. Come on in.
Oh god.
3 of you. Come on, shut the door behind you. So, I've been reading, and obviously, if you know anything about the paranormal, spirit that believe that mirrors act as portals, and this is the only known Oculus room in a paranormal attraction in North America. There's one in South America because I had my researcher research it. Now, I do think there are people who have them in their homes, you know, people who are into this kind of stuff. But as far as the paranormal attraction, you'll go nowhere in North America where we know that they have one. So, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. Now, let me tell you. If you come up here and look in the right way, like right now, I can count myself 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I count 9 of myself standing behind me. That's really cool. And I got a little candle, electric candle you can bring in here. A couple of you at a time probably. We had a girl here about a month ago, and she was using the candle, and she was counting how many, I think she said she got to 7. And when she started counting back at 5, she said there was a tall black figure standing right by her, and she ran out of here, I guess. So this is really a cool room. So it's not real comfortable in here, but because it's a little warm, but once again, I wouldn't stay in it for over 4 or 5 minutes. But how do you feel in here? You got some of that empath stuff going, don't you? You got a weird look on your face. Tightness and that kind of thing?
Not tightness.
Okay, what is it then? Can you respond to it?
There's
or
a
not?
lot.
Some, this kind of energy?
Overstimulate him, kind of.
Okay, yeah, the mirrors will do that. Okay.
I don't.
And film all you want, okay? We really encourage people to film and post and do
I was
it.
gonna ask if we were allowed to take pictures.
There is no limit. Film, do anything you want. I mean, we want all the publicity we can get. Next people.
It's a lot in there.
Hey, Paige, you haven't seen it?
Yeah, no, I hadn't. I just went in there a minute
Go
ago.
in there.
What do you think?
Okay, he doesn't need to know how much. I want to see the weird questions.
Y'all okay?
I was just
Throw a ladder on it, yeah,
I was thinking,
Like a lot of shit you can explain.
I can't hear you. What are you saying? No, he doesn't. He doesn't know. He doesn't know any of us. Yeah.
In our Wiccan guests do make donations, okay? If anybody's a Wiccan, I think there's something about Wiccan law that if you come to an Oculus room or anything like that, you are supposed to make some type of donation. It doesn't have to be money. People have left cards there, left dog tags, military tags. So we do have a lot of Wiccans that visit the house. So, okay. All right, guys. That's pretty much it.
Basement?
The old basement, yeah, kind of forget. Let me go last. I like to go last. So you want to take her into the basement or your husband?
Jordan's got it.
Yeah, Jordan's got it. Okay. I'll go last. If anyone gets pushed, it just soon be me, all right?
We'll just keep it like
You wanna go in front of me?
Sure.
Go ahead. I'll go second to last.
Now Jasmine's the one that's gonna take on the basement, on the Vortex corner. While you guys are up here, is that right?
Yep.
That is so awesome.
Yeah, that's what the plan is. I stick my hand. Oh, we didn't see you before.
Careful.
You be safe.
Paige, when
You be safe.
You be safe.
Don't be sorry, ho. Be careful.
Be careful.
Right, yeah, I don't want the air to escape. That's all right.
I'm not saying all of them are very
Said.
Oh my god.
Don't play into his games.
Yeah, how am I thinking?
Don't.
They just threw Germany on here.
Oh, they just
They just wrote Germany.
Okay, I knew it was there.
And here's the safe.
Yeah.
You all right, love?
Probably not.
You okay, babes?
We good?
Yeah, we're good.
These stairs are.
Please hold on, those stairs are very narrow and old.
Careless.
Yeah, they're perilous. That's actually a good word.
My fat ass is like, okay, just like Google, like pizza place.
This is exactly
Thank you all for joining. Stay tuned for part 2.
Well, Sandra was here, but I don't